Okay, so we're rolling. This is a historic first. I'm an 85-year-old guy living in the French Riviera. I started out 85 years ago in Chicago, and I'm here with my grandson, and he thought that, well, I had a sort of an interesting life, and maybe out of the billion people on the internet, maybe one or two would be interested in watching. And so, for you one or two, here we go. My kid, or I said my grandson, I'll call him my kid from now on, he wants to ask me questions. Well, I guess the first question he already asked me was, why am I here on the Riviera? So I guess I'll answer that one first. The story is,
The French Riviera.
yeah, French Riviera. The main town is Cap d'Antibes. See, my French is so great I can pronounce cities just like a French guy. Nice, Antibes, Villeneuve-Loubet. What else is around here?
Cannes.
Cannes. Yeah. Okay. In any event, the question on the floor is, oh, look here, we're passing an interesting sign. See? Now, why wouldn't anyone want to live in a place like this? Look at that flag. Wow. Okay. Anyway, so here I am in cold North America, and a friend of mine who was writing a newsletter says, hey, it's Christmas time. And by the way, that's right now, this is almost Christmas time. But anyway, my friend in a place called Monte Carlo, or Monaco, look, here comes a dog. Now, how could you have a better place than this? I don't know this dog, but watch out. Well, yeah, here I thought he'd be friendly with me, but he isn't. Hey, doggy. Why don't you be friendly with me? How are you? See? Good dog. Well, anyway, the question on the floor is, why would anyone choose to be here? So it was Christmas, and you know how it is in North America, cold and dirty and smelly and polluted. So my friend was in Monaco at the time. And he says, why don't you come here? I'll let you stay in my apartment. I said, wow, that's nice of you. So I came down. It was warm and sunny and pleasant. And we had a talk. And he said, hey, look, if you have all the money in the whole world, all the money in the world, where would you go? I said, well, I don't know. Where should I go? He says, Monaco. There's no better place in the world than here because, one, you don't pay any taxes. Wow. Well, if you make any money, I guess you don't pay any taxes. That's pretty good. But he says, there's so many restaurants here that you could go to a different restaurant, a good one, not a crappy one, a good restaurant every day of the year for the rest of your life, and you'd never repeat. Well, I said, even if there's 1,000 restaurants, you'd repeat, right? I mean, you'd run out of restaurants. You couldn't go to a new one every day. He said, no. He says, by the time you get to your 1,000th, 200 new ones have opened up and old ones have closed. So you'll never run out of new restaurants. Well, the truth is, once I got here, I had a few favorites, and I didn't have to go to a new one every day. But theoretically, if you're in this area, there's so many great restaurants that at least theoretically could go to a different good one every single day forever. Now, how about that for one attraction? Well, all right, I'm going to get up here and we'll keep on walking in the good old French Riviera. Okay, so as I said, if you had all the money in the world, you could go anywhere. Where would you go? Well, the truth of the matter is, the wealthy people of the world, whether they're Russian, Chinese, Indian, or American, come here, right here. Now, okay, I like restaurants, and in Monaco you don't pay any taxes, and I'm going to tell you why after I was in Monaco for a while, I moved somewhere else, but nearby anyway. But that's the idea. Okay. Now, okay. So now other reasons why, if you had all the money in the world and you wanted to come to a nice place, you'd come here. Well, the beaches. Now look, I'm gonna keep walking a little bit, and then I'm gonna turn around, and guess what you're gonna see? You're gonna see the Mediterranean. Wow, look at this. Can you believe the Mediterranean? Now, if you look closely at the beach, you'll see it's not sand, it's little rocks. So if you want to be comfortable in the summer and have a nice walk on the beach, you can't do it barefooted because the rocks hurt your feet. But if you wear, you can buy these kind of rubber shoes, and you can walk all you want on these rocks. Here, let's have a close-up of the rocks. Oh, God. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Wow. So that's the rocks on the beach. And now there are sand beaches. Maybe on a later video, I'll pick up some sand and show that to you, because I'm sure that's very interesting. But for the moment, beaches are a big attraction, and the fact that you're on the water means you have unpolluted air. The breeze comes in from the water, no smoke, no bad smells, just water, and it's kind of nice. Now, another reason, as I'm walking along here, is the architecture. Look, there's a famous architect. What the hell is his name? Corbusier. And one of his students built this building that we're passing by. Here, look at this. Yeah. Okay, that's enough. Now this, we're going to have a little close-up of the same place later on. I guess I should look at the camera.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Okay. You get other people in as long as you don't get their face.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
I'll turn it off.
Okay. Now, we're going to walk today over to a place. You just saw that nice building. We're going to walk to where that building is, and it's called Marina Bay des Anges. Notice the great French pronunciation. Marina Bay des Anges. And it's full of restaurants and little stores. And if you ever do want to come here, you can rent a nice hotel room. Now here, turn around, look at that nice hotel room. See? Right on the beach. Okay. And, they're not too expensive. About $100 a night. Maybe if you want one really right on the sea with a good sea view, you pay a little bit more, but that's not too bad if you compare it with big city, London or New York or something. You'll pay $300 a night for a room like that. Now, what else do I have to tell you? Okay, so the beaches, the good air, the wonderful restaurants. Now, how about making a living? Well, you know, the concept of digital nomad, that means that you can work from your home, and maybe you do consulting, maybe you do a blog like I'm trying to do. But if you can make your money anywhere, then why not make it in a nice place? You know, not in Montreal, Canada, where I used to live, where it's really so cold in the winter. Here it's not great, but not so bad. And I don't use them, but look here. See, you can want a bike. You can have a bike for how much?
150 or 2 euros per hour.
Yeah, about $2 or $3 an hour. You can have a bike to ride. They're all over the place. Now, well, let's talk about the big sport of this area. Now, if you're an old geezer like me, obviously you're not into skydiving, but you are into something called boules. Now, normally on a warm, sunny day, this court right here, we'll go where we can go through look through the bars. This is what's called a boules court, and people, it's kind of like bowling. You throw a ball, and you try to hit, or you throw a ball and it lands. All right, then other people throw balls and you try to hit that ball, and the one who hits it or gets closest to it wins the game. Well, that's the brief explanation. If you're a boule guy, you really can get technical about it. Now, this particular Boules Park is named after a very famous lady. And by the way, here the signs in France are usually in English. They're in English and in French. So, whoops, here, have a look at this, Josephine Baker. I'm going to translate because you're going to see how good my French is. Josephine Baker. Now, she was a black dancer, very famous for dancing in kind of a costume made 100% out of bananas. And she would wiggle around, and she was the toast of Paris. But after she was the toast of Paris and war broke out, she became an undercover agent for the French resistance. Could you believe that? Here's an American black lady who's like a spy, because who would suspect that this kind of person would be a spy for the resistance? And after the war, she got commissioned as a French officer and got the, what's it, the Croix?
Médaille d'honneur.
Well, she was in the Medal of Honor, like a really big award. And this is her story, see? She was Josephine Baker, born in 1906 in St. Louis. And she was passionate about dancing. And at the age of 14, she started her career in St. Louis with the troupe of the Booker Washington Theater. All right, but in 1925, I'm skipping a long way, she joined the Grand Revue of Paris, and they had a show called Revue Negre. Negre is not a bad word here, but it just means black. And she sang songs and danced, and she became very famous. She married a French guy in 1937, and now here comes the story of her activities in World War II. Well, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but she was always against segregation and discrimination, and she, in her late retirement, she was a wealthy lady, she bought a big mansion, which she called the Village of the World, and adopted more than a dozen children of different nationalities and religions, and they all lived happily ever after. And that's the story of Josephine Baker. And no, I didn't even know this. She died in 1975 and is buried in what do you know? Monaco. Wow. She got Medal of the Legion of Honor. That was I trying to say, the Croix de Guerre, with gold palms. Ooh, boy. Okay, so now you know about the Boules Court in this little town, which I'm sure you couldn't have gotten through the rest of your life without knowing all about that. And hey, you think this is interesting to anybody in the whole world? Something like this? Well, we'll see. And now we're going to continue our walk. And something very exciting is coming up. We're going to come to a yacht harbor. And remember when I said, if you have all the money in the world, where would you go? Well, I almost forgot. The rich people of the world come to this area because they can take their beautiful yachts, their big multi-million-dollar boats, dock them here, and you plug in and you get water and electricity and sewer connection, and it's really pleasant. If you have nothing but money and you want to spend it, well, then you bring your yacht here, and then you get an apartment here, and you live the life of a billionaire. Now, I'm not a billionaire, and so I want to tell you that even if you're of very modest means, you could actually live in a place like this. It's, to tell you the truth, the rent is cheaper here. Oh, cheaper here than San Francisco. Well, I used to live in San Francisco. And you can pay $8,000 a month for a crappy apartment there. Here, under $1,000 for the same apartment. Maybe you don't get the water view. You'll have to pay another $1,000 to live right on the water. But heck, it isn't that expensive. In restaurants, well, we go to a lot of places that you can have a nice lunch for 12 euros. And these days you figure 12 euros is about $12. So it's not a big deal. I think this place, as far as I can see, is less expensive than any big town in the USA. How about that? Now we're coming up on the yacht harbor. The place we're passing in a few seconds is where they fix the boats. It's called dry dock. They hoist the boat out of the water and then they fix it. And you see the boats that have been hoisted out of the water. Now another day we'll walk and look at the harbor, but right now we're going to go to the Marina Bay des Anges and just look at the stores and restaurants, and you'll see what the place has to offer. So we'll cut now because we're just walking in an alley. It isn't okay. Now we've just arrived at, well, where are you going? You're going to take the back of my head? We just arrived in the Marina Bay des Anges, where there's lots of yachts and lots of restaurants and stores that serve yachts. So the first place we're coming to is, if you own a nice yacht, you come here and you can buy everything for the yacht, ropes and, here, turn around. Let's show the audience what they got here. Let's look at this. There's an old geezer like me. He's in there waiting for you to. Now here's, if you own a big yacht, you have a stuffed owl. You have a barbecue, deck chairs, stuff like that. Okay, now it's gonna be dark, so we'll keep walking. I don't think you're gonna see much. Now, coming to our first next store here. Turn around, get me from that angle. Now look at, see, am I nice and light? Mm-hmm. See? Now, we could talk to my friend here. His name was Bushman. That, obviously he's not a real gorilla, but kind of nice store decoration, wouldn't you say? And we keep going. Well, this blogging stuff is kind of new to me, so if I sound like an amateur, guess what? I am. Oh, now we can see some yachts. Here, keep going. Look at that. Okay, well, we'll come back on a nice sunny day and get a better view. And, oh, here, lift up and go and see these buildings from close up. We had a little view of them before. Pretty nice, huh? Now you can buy a studio apartment here. Well, when I first came about 40 years ago, they were $50,000. Now, well, 50 years, not so bad. They're $200,000 roughly for a little studio. And then if you get a really big place with a nice terrace, well, over 100 meters, you're going to pay €1 million, $1 million. And those places were about 300,000 in the old days. So I've always believed that real estate is a good investment. Well,
keep talking.
yeah, we don't want any dead space, but we're going to edit out the dead space.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I think I had enough for today. Unless I told you before that this is a famous yacht harbor. So a lot of wealthy people keep their boats here. We're in the cheap section. The boats are only about $500,000 here. But there's another section where the yachts are huge. You can, get 100 people on them. But here is a little store. A lot of in this area are stores that serve people who want to buy and sell yachts. Various prices. So you can see what yachts sell for. These are all what I call medium price. On the other hand, here's one for almost $2 million. Yeah. So, yeah, if you don't have a lot of money, or you could be like me. You come here and you window shop, and nobody knows if you're a billionaire or just an ordinary guy like me. But if you are a billionaire, there's no shortage of ways to spend it. Okay, now the restaurants are very good, and by international standards, not expensive at all. Here, this is you know what they eat here a lot is raw meat, steak, ash a cheval. Wow, this is raw meat of a horse. Oh my God, no?
No, it just means got an egg on it.
Oh, what does that mean?
A cheval. It's the egg is on horseback of the steak.
Oh, okay. So it isn't horse meat. It's a beef steak. All right. I'm glad I have a grandson here who can point out things. He went to school in this area, and so he's a kind of like a Frenchman, although he speaks pretty good English for a Frenchman. And here we come to real estate. Now that's my old business. I used to be in real estate. Oh, quick, get a picture while it's still hot. Mm-hmm. There you go. There is some nice pictures of this area. And we're looking at a real estate store. And here's a typical apartment with a nice terrace, sea view. Wow, you can't beat that, can you? And there's the we almost saw him, man. Okay, well anyway, we'll go on and we'll look at what he has for sale and how much they are here. Very small apartment, asking almost $400,000. But remember, anywhere in the world, prices are negotiable. Mm-hmm. So they may be asking 400, but you can offer $2. I can't say you'll get it for $2, but if the guy is in a hurry, getting a divorce, maybe inherited the property, well, he can let it go quick. Well, anyway, we'll keep moving. Okay. I don't think you can even see me anymore because it's very dark. Hi. Well, you were telling me that this video that we're making is so amateurish and so full of, whatever they call wrong thing. Oh, here comes a dog. Look at this little doggy. This is what you get in this town. And good-looking women. You didn't take it. Okay. Well, anyway, getting back to my story. So, years ago, I wrote books about how to make money and how to start a new life in a different country and how to do it. And this guy who published me, a guy called Nick in England, he went to an outfit that made a beautiful brochure with wonderful illustrations, and we sent that out by mail and got very few responses, under 1%. And I made up a kind of in those days we didn't have electric typewriters, we had manuals, and they were, well, if you did a little brochure on a manual typewriter, did that look amateurish? Well, anyway, so I did an amateurish little few paragraphs on my book, and we sent that out. And guess what? The responses were 4 or 5 times what they were on his professional brochure. And the reason, I think, was that people are used to getting professional, slick presentations, and they throw them in the wastebasket. But, you know, how often do you get something written on crappy paper with, manual typewriter, one letter lighter and the other one darker? And so we got, about 5 or 6% response to selling my books. And, I just thought I'd mention that to you for those who are thinking, well, I have to do everything in a professional, expensive way. No. In my life, I did everything on a shoestring. Very little investment. And by the way, that's what we're doing on this video. My grandson, is it a crappy camera or a good one? Well, anyway, he's got a camera, and he's just taken this, and we don't have any sets. We don't have any special sound. We don't have any special anything. And you know the cost of this first video, this I guess is the second, is zero. Yeah. So if you're thinking of starting a business, just remember you don't need money to make money. And of course, I probably won't make any money on this video, but who knows? After my 1000th video, we'll have this discussion again. And if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them in another video. I'll even mention your name if you want me to. Okay, bye-bye. Hey, you know what? This is my first video, and my grandson, he says, if you don't subscribe, you'll never see me again. Ha. But maybe that's your wish. But anyway, if you feel like subscribing, go ahead and press the button. I think we'll have a button. And this is my first, wait, I gotta give the date here. This is December 7th?
6.
December 6th. December 7th, tomorrow, that's a day that will live in infamy. Because I was a little kid when I heard the news about Pearl Harbor. I didn't know what Pearl Harbor was, but I knew some guys from Asia dropped some bombs on us. Wow. So we had to retaliate, and that was the Second World War. And I just learned, I always thought that Hitler attacked the U.S., but guess what? Well, he did. Yeah, he did attack the U.S. in a way, because we didn't declare war on Hitler, that is the Americans. Hitler declared war on us. Now, why would he do a thing like that? Because he was pals with the Japanese at the time, and they had a treaty. But obviously that was a very foolish thing to do, because Germany could have stayed out of the war with the U.S. and quietly governed all of Europe and most of Russia, and not had a fight with the USA. But who knows? Okay, so now what else do I want? What else do we want to talk about? Oh, you know what? If we can have audience send in questions and stuff like that, that might be interesting. We get some questions from you guys out there in the real world. And you can, and I'll answer every single one, because I doubt that there's more than one person watching this in the whole world. But you're the lucky one. And if I hear from you, how do we give them instructions as to where to send their... Okay.
Leave it in the comments.
All right, that'll be in the comments. Okay, so we'll see you next time. And I'm going to start doing a lot of these videos. You know why? Because I heard that if you get 1 million viewers, you start getting so much money, man. I could afford one of those big yachts. Wow, would that be something? Well, I'll tell you what, if you are my first viewer and you make me a comment, and I know who you are, when I get my first 1 million viewers and a yacht, I'm going to invite you and all your buddies for a lot of drinks and a ride on my yacht. Now, how's that for an offer?